You're new. You're a new contractor, young business. How do you know what your goals should be? How do you know what you need to sell each week, each day, each month in order to just survive and not go out of business? Today on Contractor Fight TV, we're going to talk all about how to know what your break-even point is as a newer contractor. Let's do it. I recently got a question from one of the viewers here on Fight TV. It went something like, you've talked about break-even before, but how do I know what my break-even point is if I'm a new contractor and I'm not yet profitable? I don't have data behind me and some, other information. So that's what I'm going to address here today, and it's really no different at all if you're a brand new business or you're an existing business. The formulas are totally the same. There's really two things that you need to capture here in order to figure out how much your break-even point is. So I want to define your break-even point here real quick. Break-even is this: how much money do you need to keep to pay all the bills in the business that are not the bills out in the field, like cost of goods sold, like your labor, your material, your permits? Those are cost of goods sold. If you sell $100,000 worth of work, but it costs you $100,000 to produce the work, you got zero money left to pay all the other bills in the business, your overhead, so you're kind of fucked. So break even is imagine like you're in a life vest, okay? And you're in the ocean and you're just kind of bobbing up and down in the water. You're surviving. You're not in a boat or on a nice big ship all comfortable and thriving. You're just surviving. Break even is survival. And sometimes, I'll tell you this, now, totally believe with all of my heart, you need to make a profit on every job, every week, every month, and every year. You need to be profitable. But there are times when a business will intentionally price their work just to break even during certain conditions in the economy and things like that. Those are things for people that actually have a little more experience running their numbers and some data behind it and actually have a fucking plan, and they're working their plan and they're disciplined. But for most of you watching this, I'm going to show you a way to do it with a profit, because you have to make a profit. The first thing you need to know is, what is my monthly overhead nut? This is above and beyond what you're paying your guys in the field and what material costs. You got to be clear on this. Overhead is, what are the things that you have to pay in order to keep the lights on in your business? Those are things like your marketing, your truck payments, your rent if you have rent or mortgage for a shop. It's your salary, because you deserve a salary. So whatever you have to pay yourself to bring home to, Mama Bear, all right, you have to make sure that that is worked in there. So for super simple math here today, I'm just going to say that your monthly overhead for our example is $15,000. You got to, no matter what you bring in on the top line, after you produce all your work, you have to keep $15,000. Second thing you need to know, you got your monthly overhead. The second thing is, what is your gross profit on the work you do? And your gross profit's going to change, but we talked in another video about KPIs and know what your gross profit is. And when you can look back and you say, okay, our average gross profit is 51%, then you can run your break-even budgets on 51%. Now, you might have a month that's higher, a month that's lower, but ultimately that will give you pretty much where you need to be. So if I need to keep $15,000 just to keep the lights on in the business, and I'm getting a 50% gross profit, you're going to take $15,000 and you're going to divide it by 0.50, 50%. 50% in the decimal form, okay? That will give you $30,000. That's what you need to bring in. You have to collect 30 grand in that month, and you're keeping 50%, because 50% is going to produce the job. Those are cost of goods. You're left with 15 grand. You have broken even. You've paid all the bills in the field. You've paid all the bills for the overhead, and you basically have zero money left for any net profit. See, if there's anything left, that's called net profit. It's different than gross profit. Guys, that's how you figure out your break-even point. So if you are a new business and you have no idea, you don't have a history behind you, and you're just starting out, like our viewer asked the question here, here's what I would start with. I would just write down, forget the field here for a minute. What are all the bills in the business I have? I'm paying myself 100 grand as the owner. That's 33.33 a month in salary. Okay, round it up to 8,400 bucks. I'm spending $1,000 in marketing a month, or 5 grand, whatever that might be. I got my shop rent, my truck payment, my liability insurance. I pay for my bookkeeper. You add all that stuff. Just take a piece of paper, write it down, and add it up. And whatever that number is, your starting point, divide it by 0.50, and that will give you what you need to sell each month and produce at that 50% gross profit in order to just break even. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, we're just talking break even now. What about profit? Because our viewer who sent this question in was like, what if you're not yet profitable? Well, first I call bullshit on that, because you need to be profitable. You simply add it to your overhead. So I encourage people to just come up with a monthly net profit goal. So if my overhead is that $15,000 that we talked about, and I say I want to make $5,000 in net profit each month, simply take the 5 grand, add it to the 15, you got 20,000 bucks divided by 0.50. You got to now sell, produce, and collect at least $40,000 produced at the 50% to keep the 20 grand, and the 20 grand will pay 15 to the overhead, and you'll have a beautiful 5,000 bucks that you can squirrel away as net profit, and you can use that to reinvest back into the business, pay off debt, what other needs you might have. Okay, so guys, as we wrap this up, you have to have clarity around what you need to sell. A lot of people just go out there and they just try to sell, but they don't have a destination. And you noticed in recent videos, we're talking about getting clear targets and having clarity of destination, and then measuring KPIs and those things to make sure that we're on track. You should know each and every month, take the time and look at your P&L that your bookkeeper prints off for you, and just go, okay, what was our overhead this month? I thought it was going to be 15 grand, and it was actually 16.5, or maybe it was 13 grand. And then you look at what you brought in, you look at your gross profit, and it'll show you exactly where your break even should have been. So guys, head to thecontractorfight.com/charge, and there's a simple worksheet there for you to just kind of write out some of the things that we've talked about here, and it'll actually help you figure out what that sales goal needs to be, what your break even point is, and also what you need to bill your workout at per man hour in order to break even and make that net profit. You guys rock. I got to roll. Have a great day.